Right, okay. I was kind of debating how I'm going to approach shading my Tyranids, and uh, I tried a couple of little experiments. One with a bit of null oil on it, and one with the Carroburg Crimson. And honestly, what I've decided is I'm going to go for, it's not quite dry yet, but I'm going to go for a Carroburg Crimson, pretty much washed all over the whole thing, but watered down so that it really flows into the recesses. So this is different, not different for me because this is a technique that I'm pretty much using anyway. But what I'm doing, getting my Carroburg Crimson. You'll have seen me do something like this if you've watched my Emperor's Sons. But on that one, I watered down my null oil, whereas this one I'm watering down my Carroburg Crimson. Basically, dead simple now. What I'm doing is I am literally just running it very watered down, top to bottom, and I'm making it that simple because I've realised when I was kind of saying to myself, how long is it going to take to shade all these Tyranids? And I was thinking to myself, my goodness, I actually went out my way to get extra Tyranids. So I found an extra von Ryan's Leapers. I found like loads of extra Termagants. On top of the fact that I've already got some Tyranids from previous that I'd never really painted up. So I was saying to myself, well, how am I gonna get all of these painted up if I make it too complicated as a paint scheme? And then I thought, well, I do have my own personal approach to doing certain things, and one of those approaches is the way that I tend to be pretty bad for watering down shading paints and just washing the hell out of my miniatures. I don't do that all the time. In fact, actually what I tend to do is create washes out of things like contrast paints, and I tend to do them over a base layer. So I don't normally actually apply my shades after I've done my base layer. I actually tend to put my shade down first over a base coat and then build up other layers on top of it. So it's actually quite a different approach, this, actually putting the shade on over something that I've painted using other colours first. So it's good to try different approaches. Now you can see that this is a very wet approach to doing something. You can see my fingers are getting covered in doing so. But what I'm going to end up with afterwards is I've still got the blue is still there, but it's kind of being highlighted in a crimson colour. Now what you've got to remember is we've got absolutely tons and tons and tons of other ones to do, like this big beefy guy here. Let me just zoom out a bit so you can actually see Mr. Beefs. And basically this is going to be fun to do, but basically starting from the top, same basic logic. Now of course what you've kind of got to watch out for is sometimes the paint will just kind of streak, and particularly if you've watered it down, streaking is a serious issue, which I'm not going to solve on this video. I'll put it as plain and simply as possible. I am not going to fix the streaking on this video. That is something that I'm going to be doing at a later stage with combinations of highlighting and dry brushing. So I'm not that worried about the streaks that will inevitably form at this stage. I'm going to actually just let it happen and it will be fixed later on. Oh gosh, I've got so many Tyranids to do. This is going to be a long job. Which is hence why doing this as well. I'll probably run out of Carroburg Crimson actually if I didn't water it down a bit as I went through. You can see here, even on these, like the maw on the tentacles and inside the mouth, I'm going to do this. Now, what you've got to remember is I can kind of get away with doing this as well because I created a zenithal undercoat with my spray paints. The thing is, if you haven't done my kind of undercoating method where you create a multiple tone undercoat, you'd have to maybe paint all the flesh colours in something like Corax white first. But that's the only thing, hopefully, you would really need to do. Well, hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. The camera keeps like sliding, it's annoying me. And it keeps going off on a little tilted adventure at the moment, my camera. Still where you put your shot. I definitely need a better way of holding my camera, don't I? I'm terrible at this kind of thing. I'm not asking you to tilt wherever you feel like, you know. The other thing I would say as well about doing this method of shading where you really water it down is do not have any other models in the immediate vicinity, because I can assure you, you will get splash everywhere. And that is not a joke, that is not an overreaction, it will literally go everywhere this. So do not have any other models in your painting area, because the end result will be that they will get splattered by it. It's the reason that my paint desk has nothing, absolutely nothing else on it at the moment, because I'm doing this approach. It just has the Tyranids. A bit of a malfunction on my camera then, it didn't want to zoom out properly. I had to stop it for a second. I think when I do the Chaos Space Marines, I will actually do them using my style of painting, because I think after kind of we're done with the Eldari, I think everyone will kind of pretty much understand how the heavier metal approach will kind of works at that point. I don't know why, but my camera is decided it really doesn't want to zoom out now. Yeah, I think this is the problem when you're painting a big model like this. It's very hard to have your camera close enough in and then zoom out again when you need to. Yeah, so I'll actually go into, although I'm gonna use the same paints that we have available, I'm going to actually approach painting it from my kind of own flavour of painting, which I've been kind of developing over time. You know, I do want to kind of still restrict myself to the paints that we are getting in Combat Patrol, just so that, you know, you can, if you choose to, paint along with me. But, you know, I'll use my own personal approach when we do the Chaos guys, Chaos boys. Right, there we go. That's it really. That is what I am going to do across every single Tyranid now, using that exact same approach, which is going to inevitably end with me with blood red hands. I'll just quickly show you how this is going to look on the Parasite. Again, you know, just let it roll on. But I'm not doing anything particularly, you know, outstandingly difficult. I am literally just watering the paint down, watering the shade down an insane amount. So that I don't completely lose the colour underneath. It doesn't really... plus, as I said, I personally find, this is a personal thing, you know, Games Workshop shades are somewhat thick. Now, some people will tell you that's the point. It's supposed to be. But that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, do your own little experiments and see what happens when you play with the consistency. If you ever want to try and thicken a paint, then get yourself some acrylic matte varnish or something similar to thicken the paint and see what effects you get when you thicken things. It's your hobby, it's your, you know, it's your excitement, so to speak. So, you know, don't have anyone tell you what's the right way to do things. There is no right way, there is only experiments and finding how you like to do this. As said, there's what's known as the heavier metal style, which is what we're following with Combat Patrol. But that doesn't mean that we can't do our own thing, try our own approaches. You can see that's worked really well on this Parasite, actually trying to get the paint to be a lot more runny. I think that's worked very well, actually. So there we go, that's how I am getting all of these guys painted up. I'm going to be at this for a while, doing pretty much the same thing across every single Tyranid, which, oh my goodness, this is going to take a very long time. I think I'm going to be at it for hours and hours and hours. But hopefully the end result is a interesting looking set of Tyranids, you know, with a blue rather than a purple carapace, but you know, it's very similar techniques in many other areas to Hive Fleet Leviathan. But as I said, this is my own little Hive Fleet that I've still not decided on a name for yet. I still can't decide on a name. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to finish this one off. You know, there's probably a bunch of really pro high quality painters who are watching me do this at the moment, screaming at me for doing what they probably, some of them might consider to be a complete and utter slapdash approach to painting, but you're not supposed to get what other people think. It's art. Care only about what you think. There we go, that's how turn it primed on. Right, I'm going to finish these, and then once I'm done with painting up all of these vast amount of Tyranids to do, I'm going to then go away and unpink my hands, which is they're going to be purpley pink by the end of it. So thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I hope you found that useful, showing you a different approach to shading on the Tyranids.